Welcome to a Management Plus training webinar. My name is Kevin Sloan. I'm a certified electronic health record specialist and certified ophthalmic technician. Management Plus is an industry leader in EHR, and we want to provide you with the documentation tools and the skills to use these tools proficiently. Today's training webinar is titled History and Meds. Let's get started. As you can see, we've accessed the History and Meds form by clicking on its title in the form tree on the left. It is a static form. You can identify that by looking at the end of this title and seeing the letter S on the end. Static will indicate that all values entered on the previous visit will come forward on all subsequent visits. Squeeze that over, give us a little bit more room. This form contains all of the controls required for documentation of the history and meds of the patient. We'll take each section separately, kind of review some of the various options for data entry. The first section is allergies. There are at least 4 different methods for entering data into this control. You can see that we have 2 options already documented on a previous record. You can see those there. If you click the Add button, it will launch these windows here. You can click the flashlight or type in the option here, choose the reaction, notes, and then add, and it will add that to the grid. This may take a considerable length of time depending on how your computers are set up and your network. It may take several seconds if you begin to type in the option within this. And it will only display a few letters at a time, and then the other letters will display. So this is one option for doing that, but again, depending on your system setup, you may choose not to use this because of the search length of that option. So that's one method there by clicking the Add button. If you click the None button, it will add in No Known onto that. If you ever need to delete an option, which I'm going to here, I'm going to delete that. I would select it, right click, choose Allergies List, and then delete, and it will ask me if I want to delete that. A third option is to click the wizard. This will display a checklist of all of your predefined favorites, which I'll show you how to set up favorites in a few minutes. So if you wanted to select this option, this latex rubber, you would choose Add, and it will ask you if you want to enter the reaction or notes. If you click yes, you can do, let's just put rash, notes, only on hands, okay, and then we'll scroll up and you can see that it has now been added. These screens are actually designed for a 22-inch monitor. I'm actually using a small laptop. That is why I have to scroll. If you have the minimum hardware requirement of a 22-inch monitor, you won't have to do any of the scrolling such as I'm doing here. Okay. A fourth option for entering the data is to right-click, choose Allergies List, Add. It will put in today's date, and let's choose M for medication. You can choose environmental or food, and it will display there. You can type in the word or the medication of choice here. Again, this may result in a fair amount of search time. Let's click the flashlight. This will bring up your search list. And we'll type in penicillin. I'm going to type it here, cut it out, and then paste it in. Often by doing that, your search time is reduced, although it still may take a fair amount of time to search depending on your system and how it's set up and your network speed. If it says not responding, it does not mean that it's locked up or frozen. It's just Windows' way of telling you that it is thinking about it. It is processing that request. Let's give it some time to search for penicillin. There, now it has found it. You can see that there are multiples on here. We're looking at the RX norm code list. You can see the code here. Why are they multiples? This is a government approved list. It is a global list. This may be the code that was used in South America. Maybe this was the code that was used in China. So it has to be set up this way so that anybody in any country can reconcile meds, problems, and allergies. So you may see multiples. You may consult your physician, ask them which one you want to choose. There are many different penicillins located here. If the patient is specific enough for you to identify the exact one, certainly pick that. To make a favorite, as we showed you, we had several favorites. We're going to right-click on the option of choice and choose Add Favorite. To access your favorites, you click the Favorites button. Now you can see that we have added penicillin onto that. You can double-click onto this, put in your reaction, click OK, and now it will add that to there. If you ever need to edit these, again, right-click, Allergies List, Edit. If you need to delete, you can choose Delete. If you have an XML file attached to the record, you can reconcile from the CCD, which is what that is, and it will allow you to pick the options of choice that you want to reconcile, and it will bring these in automatically. So if your patient was sent to you from an office that had a certified EHR and they did provide you with an electronic version of the CCD which contains an XML file, you'll be able to actually bring these values that were documented on the other system into your EHR for allergies, medications, and problems only. Okay. Let's move on to the medications grid. Very similar to the allergies. You can click Add, choose your medication, route, frequency, click the Add button, and then Done. If you click None, it will put this option here and here, such as that. If you click the wizard, it will give you your predefined favorites and allow you to select those options. Okay. Let's choose this one here. We'll click Add, Yes to the routes of administration, and we'll choose PO twice a day, and you can see that it has now been added to the grid with today's date on there. If you want to delete one, right-click Prescriptions, Delete, click Yes to delete that, and off you go. Can right-click Prescriptions, Add. If this is the patient's standard medication list that you did not prescribe, uncheck this, uncheck that, choose the flashlight, find the drug of choice. This one has a fairly quick search engine. And if that is the choice that you want, you can always right-click, add it to your favorite, do OK. If you want to enter any of this other information, go right ahead. How the frequency, routes of administration, and so forth, and then click OK, and you'll have it. Very straightforward, very easy. Review of systems. You can see we have static data here as well. Clicking this will make everything normal. If there was nothing documented in here already, let's clear this out. Click normal, and you can see that it puts patient denies on there. Clicking the wizard will launch these controls. Clear will clear everything. Normal makes it normal. And if you have some things like stuffiness or things that are occurring today, so these are problems that are occurring just today, back pain, so forth. Choose the items that you need to, click done, and you'll see that that information is now displayed here. Okay, very straightforward. Family history, again, you can click none and it will put in no relevant family history. Clicking add will allow you to choose the problem. So if they had cataract, father, okay, click add and then done, and you can see that it has been added. Okay. You can click the wizard, also choose some of these. Glaucoma, let's just choose that. We'll choose add. Relationship, yes. So and we'll add some notes and then click yes, and now we can see that we have that added down below. You can right click, do grid, and then add line, and you can put in there any piece of information that you need to. Okay. If you ever need to delete a line, you can select the line, click the red arrow, or sorry, not red arrow, it's a red minus sign is really what it is, and it will delete that line. Moving up to the top on the right is the smoking status section. You should pick one of these items within this list. This is a specific government approved list that you do not ever want to type into. So choosing former smoking, pressing tab will display the SNOMED code down below. And for never smoker, you can see that when I exit that control, it displays that. H for heavy smoker. Okay, this is a clinical decision support rule that is triggered based on specific values. And again, it sets that. If they are smoking or have any of the values selected that triggers the clinical decision support rule, you want to discuss this session with the patient. The alcohol drinking status, this is actually not required for meaningful use, but it is a good idea to record this. Some physicians may not want you to, so consult your office physician. Ask them if they want you to record the alcohol and drinking status values on this. Again, this and this discuss cessation control is not actually associated with meaningful use, although it's not a bad idea to document that. The patient assessed for fall risk checkbox resides here. You can see that it is checked. I am going to uncheck that, going back to the workup form and then back to the history and meds form, and you can see that I do have an informational message that says don't forget to assess for fall risk. That's because Mr. Bob Hope, if he was alive, would be 112 years old. So any patient over 65 will trigger that clinical decision support rule. You'll ask the patient, have you fallen in the last 6 months? If they say no, then you'll still check the box. If they answer yes, recommend to that patient to consult their primary care doctor and then still check the box. You've completed your requirement. This will not display that clinical decision support rule any further, since this is a static form and it will always remain selected. It is a good idea to update this and the smoking status at least once a year. All that's required is to ask the questions again, uncheck the box, click into another control or press tab, and then click into that again. It will set that field audit. You can see that this is done by right-clicking, choosing field audit, and you can see initially it was true. It was set on October 23rd. Now it was false. I unchecked it and then exited the control, and then I checked it again and then exited the control. So now I have reset the field audit. The bold value at the top is the current value of true and the name of who did it. I'm signed in as system administrator so that you can see that the names do match. Vitals are accessed by clicking the plus button here. Again, all static data, height, weight, and blood pressure, BMI, those are required for meaningful use. The temperature, respiration are not required for meaningful use, so don't feel like you have to fill those out. This is the mental status controls down below. Oriented ×3, mood and affect within normal limits. If these are deselected, which they would be by default, you can select normal and it will give you the tick on both of those. Clicking down will make that window disappear. Next is the ocular history and problem list. Again, 4 different methods for doing data documentation. Clicking the add button will display this lookup list and notes. Again, based on your system, choosing this option can result in a significant length of search time. If you begin to search by keying in specific letters of a word, it will display the first few letters and then it will begin its search process, which can result in a lengthy search time. Once you do find that, you can arrow down. If there are multiple options for that description, you can choose the option of choice and then click add. If you click none, it will put in this entry of just none. I'm going to delete that by right-clicking on that, choosing problem list, and then delete. It will ask me, and I'll choose yes. You can choose the wizard button, and it will allow you to put in or select the options of choice. Again, these are favorites, so you may want to set up your favorites in advance. And once you select that, you just click add and it will add that to the grid. The fourth option, which does allow you to select your favorites, is to right-click problem list and then add. You could search here, but I do recommend clicking the flashlight, because if you find the option of choice, you can set it as a favorite. So let's just type in here macular degeneration. I'm actually going to do it down here. And I'm going to cut it out and then paste it in. It's often faster to search this way because you're not typing in the letters. If you type in the letters, it begins to search after about 2 or 3 letters. But go ahead and try it on your system. It might be fairly fast. Okay. I would recommend putting in options such as dry, wet, and seeing what you come up with. And as you can see, there are no options for those. So macular degeneration is not listed that way. There are several other different descriptions for different forms of macular degeneration. So I would recommend that you do some extensive research. Look this list over, find your favorites in advance. So I'm going to right-click on this and choose Add Favorite. Access my favorites just like the others by clicking Favorites. Go back to the full list by clicking it again, which is here. Again, Favorites. So if I wanted that, just double-click. You could put it in notes of both eyes and then OK. And now you can see that I have it. If I click the wizard now, you can see that my new option of macular degeneration is now on this list. So it's a good idea to set up your favorites in advance. Ocular surgeries and procedures. You can see that none is documented here. That was done by clicking the none button. Okay, I'm going to click the red minus sign and delete that. I'll click none again just to show you that it does occur. Clicking add will allow you to pick items or to type items down here. Dry eye, and we'll put in 2 2010, add, and then done. So you can see that we have dry eye documented. Can click the wizard, and now we have some options here that you can choose from. And let's choose on here some cochlear implants. Choose add, and it's going to ask you if you want to enter a date or notes. Let's click yes, put in this, and then click next. Okay, very straightforward, very easy. You can see that now we have the new entry down below. Moving on to surgical history, as you can see, we have a pattern here. Clicking none will put this in. Clicking add will allow you to pick the option of choice, the date, the notes, and then add, and so forth. Clicking the wizard will allow you to pick items in here. Once you've chosen those, click add, and it will add that to it. Straightforward, simple, just like all of the others that we've seen. Down below is the reviewed by and reviewed by physician. Clicking this will actually set the user that's logged in, which is a system administrator. So if your physician is reviewing this, they can click this button and it will set the date and the name in there automatically for them. Very straightforward, very simple, with a lot of functionality and options for you. This completes the training on the History and Meds form. Thank you.